Hello and welcome back. This week's gonna be a little different. I decided to do an experiment, so if you watch my videos, chances are you watch other channels about mini painting or terrain making. And while watching a couple of videos, one thing kept popping up over and over. They cover the board in watered down PVA glue. They cover it in sand and then spritz over some isopropyl alcohol. Their explanation of why they did this doesn't make much sense to me, so I wanted to see if it was true. The claim is that it causes a capillary action in the PVA glue, spreading it out over the terrain. I don't think that's really how it works. I think it's more of a placebo effect. So my hypothesis is spritzing with alcohol doesn't add any help when gluing down sand on terrain pieces. So background information. A capillary action means the movement of water within the space of a porous material due to the forces of adhesion, cohesion, and surface tension. I'm going to use a paper towel to explain this. Water will slowly move up the paper towel, defying gravity because of these forces. PVA glue, or wood glue, or polyvinyl acetate is a thermoplastic that cures with the evaporation of water. This leaves a strong bond, is also cheap, and usually has a pretty long working life. The isopropyl alcohol, or at least the solution that you can buy at the store, is often a mix of water and alcohol. Mine is 91%. So the experiment, I'm going to use these tiles to stick different grains of sand to the least effective terrain I could think of. Adhesives usually like to have a rough surface to bind to, so the PVA glue on these tiles will have the best chance of spreading through the sand more than actually sticking to it. So we'll have one control, no spritz, with a fine grain, a medium, and a coarse. There's going to be one with a spritz of water and one with alcohol. Each grain will be attached with a 50-50 mix of PVA glue and water. And after everything is applied and spritzed, it was given 2 days to dry. I'm also going to weigh it before and after I stress test it to see how much sand actually stuck. I don't think my hypothesis is correct, but I also don't think it's wrong. According to the quantitative data, the alcohol did the worst. However, the control lost coarse ground sand. So, by this data, a spritz of water is actually the best and the most effective method. It is also the cheapest than soaking your piece of terrain in isopropyl alcohol. If I were to run this experiment again, some things I would change. I would measure out the sand before to see how much was on the sample and see how much actually stuck. I would also measure out the PVA glue mixture to make sure that each sample was getting the same amount. Really, a lot of the things I'd be trying to fix would be to make as much consistent variables as I could. But after all was said and done, I tried to get more sand off and I rinsed it under the sink, and just like the Mogwai in the Gremlins movie, when you get it wet, all things went to hell and nothing stuck. So until next time, happy crafting, have a good day, goodbye.